Section 32 of Poems of American History, the Colonial Era. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by David Allen. Poems of American History, the Colonial Era. Chapter 8. The Struggle for the Continent, Part 1. While England was colonizing the Atlantic seaboard, France was firmly establishing herself to the north, along the St. Lawrence. It was inevitable that war should follow, and as early as 1613 the English had destroyed the French settlements in Nova Scotia. The country had scarcely rallied from the blow when it was torn asunder by the contest between Charles Latour and the Chevalier d'Aulnay, a contest which, after 12 years, resulted in victory for the latter. St. John, April, 1647. To the winds give our banner, bear homeward again, cried the Lord of Acadia, cried Charles of Estienne. From the prow of his shallop he gazed, as the sun from its bed in the ocean streamed up the St. John, o'er the blue western waters that shallop had passed, where the mists of Penobscot clomb damp on her mast. Saint Saviour had looked on the heretic sail, as the songs of the Huguenot rose on the gale. The pale ghostly fathers remembered her well, and had cursed her while passing with taper and bell. But the men of Monhegan, of Papists of horde, had welcomed and feasted the heretic lord. They had loaded his shallop with dunfish and ball, with stores for his larder, and steel for his wall. Pemaquid, from her bastions, and turrets of stone, had welcomed his coming with banner and gun, and the prayers of the elders had followed his way, as homeward he glided down Pentecost Bay. Oh, well sped Latour, for in peril and pain his lady kept watch for his coming again. O'er the Isle of the Pheasant the morning sun shone on the plane trees which shaded the shores of St. John. Now why from yon battlement speaks not my love? Why waves there no banner my fortress above? Dark and wild from his deck St. Estienne gazed about, on fire-wasted dwellings and silent redoubt. From the low shattered walls which the flame had o'errun, there floated no banner, there thundered no gun. But beneath the low arch of its doorway there stood a pale priest of Rome in his cloak and his hood. With the bound of a lion Latour sprang to land, on the throat of the Papist he fastened his hand. Speak, son of the woman of scarlet and sin, what wolf has been prowling my castle within? From the grasp of the soldier the Jesuit broke, half in scorn, half in sorrow, he smiled as he spoke. No wolf, Lord of Estienne, has ravaged thy hall, but thy red-handed rival with fire, steel, and ball. On an errand of mercy I hitherward came, while the walls of thy castle yet spouted with flame. Pentagoet's dark vessels were moored in the bay, grim sea lions roaring aloud for their prey. But what of my lady? Cried Charles of Estienne. On the shot-crumbled turret thy lady was seen, half veiled in the smoke cloud, her hand grasped thy pennon, where her dark tresses swayed in the hot breath of cannon. But woe to the heretic, evermore woe, when the son of the church and the cross is his foe. In the track of the shell, in the path of the ball, Pentagoet spread over the breach of the wall. Steel to steel, gun to gun, one moment, and then alone stood the victor, alone with his men. Of its sturdy defenders, thy lady alone saw the cross-blazoned banner float over St. John. Let the dastard look to it, cried fiery Estienne. Were down they King Louis, I would free her again. Alas for thy lady, no service from thee is needed by her whom the Lord hath set free. 9 days in stern silence her thraldom she bore, but the 10th morning came, and death opened her door. As if suddenly smitten, Latour staggered back. His hand grasped his sword hilt, his forehead grew black. He sprang on the deck of his shallop again. We cruise now for vengeance! Give away! Cried Estienne. Massachusetts shall hear of the Huguenots' wrong, and from island and creekside her fisherers shall throng. Pentagoet shall rue what his Papists have done, when his palisades echo the Puritans' gun. Oh, the loveliest of heavens hung tenderly o'er him. There were ways in the sunshine and green isles before him. But a pale hand was beckoning the Huguenot on, and in the blackness and ashes behind was St. John. John Greenleaf Whittier. The rivalry between the colonists for the fur trade grew steadily more bitter. In 1690, King William's War, Canada undertook the conquest of New York and destroyed a number of frontier towns. The English made some reprisals, Sir William Phipps capturing Acadia, and Major Peter Schuyler leading a raid into the country south of Montreal, where he defeated a considerable body of French and Indians under Valrennes in a spirited fight at La Prairie. The Battle of La Prairie, 1691. That was a brave old epoch, our age of chivalry, when the Briton met the Frenchman at the fight of La Prairie, and the manhood of New England and the Netherlanders true, and the Mohawk swarm gave battle to the Bourbons lilied blue. That was a brave old governor who gathered his array, and stood to meet he knew not what on that alarming day. 800 amid rumors vast that filled the wild woods gloom, with all New England's flower of youth fierce for New France's doom. And the brave old half 500, there should in truth be fame, bore down the savage Richelieu. Oh, what in prize they came! Your hearts are great enough, O few, only your numbers fail. New France asks more for conquerors, all glorious though your tale. It was a brave old battle that surged around the fort, when De Hosta fell in charging, and was deadly strife in short, when in the very quarters they contested face in hand, and many a goodly fellow crimson yon La Prairie sand. And those were brave old orders the colonel gave to meet that force with trees and trench opposing the retreat. The cavalry strengths behind us, and in front your Richelieu, we must go straight forth at them. There's nothing else to do. And then the brave old story comes of Schuyler and Valrennes, when fight the British colonel called, encouraging his men, for the Protestant religion and the honor of our king. Sir, I am here to answer you, Valrennes cried forth stepping. Were not those brave old races? Well, here they still abide. Well, and yours is one or other, and the second's at your side. So when you hear your brother say some loyal deed I'll do, like old Valrennes be ready with, I'm here to answer you. William Dow, Schuyler Lighthall. End of section 32.